Hickok 45 here. You know, one of the neighbors left a couple of jugs of moonshine sitting on my range. Guess what's going to happen to them? They got empty. They didn't get blown up because I'm just shooting 45 Colt. It's not one of those blow up rounds, but you don't want to get hit by one. 250 grains of lead would not be nice, right? So, yep, 45 Colt out of a Smith & Wesson mountain gun. Do not tell anybody. I am shooting it on relatively flat land because I am not supposed to be doing that. See what it says on that thing? Mountain gun. So, do not report me to the FBI for doing this, because this is not the mountains. So it's really designed for the mountains, okay? Keep that in mind. 45 Colt. Yep, a newer gun to me. I have always wanted kind of a mountain gun. They make them in 44 and 45, I guess, maybe some other calibers. I don't think they do. Maybe they did or do. But I just finally, after all these decades, talked to you about it, showed it in a Sunday morning shoot around a few weeks back maybe, and I just have always passed on them, but I've always liked them. I like the looks of them, the fact they are chambered usually in 45 Colt, 44 Magnum, that's an appeal. Big old end frame Smith & Wesson, right? And I like that contour on the barrel. They're like a model 27 Smith & Wesson or a model 24, you know, 44 special, where you don't have as much weight in the barrel. And I've got it opened up and you can kind of see the barrel doesn't have as much meat in it. You know, whereas a normal Smith & Wesson barrel, you see that one. I'll hold up this, this is also a 45 Colt, but you got a thicker barrel all the way out, you know, whether it's a 4-inch or a 6-inch, you know. So that's why it's a mountain gun. You can carry it a little more easily. It's lighter, but it's still in a, you know, pretty serious chambering. 45 Colt, 44 Magnum. Okay, not as heavy, and you can tell when you pick them up, they're just not that bad. So that's what that is. It's a mountain gun. Here I am shooting it illegally, breaking the law, shooting it on flatland. But thought you might be interested in seeing it, okay, and knowing a little bit more about it. All right. And I just bought that sucker, found it on Gunbroker of all places, and an auction, and decided if I was ever going to have a mountain gun, I better go ahead and do it. What am I waiting for? I've waited decades, really. Yeah, I really have. So, 45 Colt is not a Magnum, you know, which is okay. It's plenty strong, and I've got some of those Underwood extreme penetrators here, 250 grain. I'll shoot some of those at some point. And you know, those are nice. They they apparently penetrate extremely, and they got a pretty nice punch to them. You can tell you're shooting something that's a little warm, and I guess I'd be comfortable carrying that in bear country. 45 Colt with that great bullet in it that is proven, as I understand. And you know, so there. Well, we just go ahead and do that. You want to? Yeah. Let's not delay. So. Extreme penetrators. Yeah, I don't have a test medium here. We don't do a lot of that kind of thing, but we could shoot something that it will penetrate, don't you think? How about this jug here? I know what we could do. I don't know. It'd be interesting. Do I need to sit down? I'm gonna have to sit down. I'm gonna try to shoot through that jug and hit that stop sign. How's that? Yeah, there we go. I got a good line of sight. Now, I'm also going to end up with a shower, right? All right. Well, it hit the plate down there. Okay. See it swinging? That went right there. So, yeah, went through and hit that plate. Let's see. While I'm sitting down, what else do I want to shoot? I never get to shoot sitting down. Penetrated that pretty well. How about that bowling pin? I missed it. Let's penetrate the buffalo. All right. Enough fooling around. Maybe, yeah, next time I think I'll just sit down and do all the shooting. It's kind of relaxing. So yeah, you can put some pretty warm stuff there. And you know, 45 Colt is no slouch. Again, it's not a Magnum, but it's no slouch. And it's an end frame. It should, you know, hold pretty warm ammo. That's what we've got here. Now, I got these other guns out, not to go into a long, boring lesson, just a short, boring lesson. But the Smith & Wesson, they were, of course, they're famous for the top breaks. You know, the Schofield and the number 3s and the you know, those Model 3s back in the 1800s, right? And then later on, they went to a swing out cylinder at the end of the century, you know, kind of around the turn of the century, I guess, 1800s into the 1900s, and they had their triple lock, you know, 44s and all that. And then when World War I came along, we needed guns, and both Colt and Smith chambered their big frame guns in 45 ACP, and this is a Smith & Wesson model 1917 you've seen before, I hope. And it is a 45 chambered, you know, for World War I. Takes the clips, moon clips, half moon clips in 45 ACP, the shorter cartridge. And you know what, I got one in my pocket. I meant to bring one out for that reason. So it's chambered for that, you know, the shorter one, but it's a 45. Okay, so that's when we got into our 45s, I guess, and that was handy. And then later, I mean, it evolved. What was a Model 22 or something in 45, a nicer 1917 kind of model. And then this one was made in the 70s, and it's a 45 Colt Smith & Wesson. It's a Model 25. Okay, chambered for the same cartridge we're shooting today, 45 Colt. You've seen that one too, probably. And then I guess it was in the 80s, they came out with the stainless models, the 625, which is what this one is. And some of those were in 45 ACP. I had one, used to compete with it in USPSA matches in revolver competition. And it had the underlug and had a regular barrel, kind of like this one, but the full underlug. They were generally about 5-inch barrels, I think. It was a nice gun. I kind of regret never selling that after I quit competing so much. That was a 45 ACP, you know, with moon clips and everything. They still make those, I think. Maybe it's in the Performance Center, but I think they still make those. Okay, and all these 625, some of them are 45 ACP, some are 45 Colt. Okay, but they're all 45s, and they both are, you know, really popular cartridges. The 45 ACP, it just doesn't get much more popular than that. And then the same with the 45 Colt since 1873, right? And so they would go back and forth, and you could get them chambered in either round, different times. And so this one, 45, you know, long Colt, 45 Colt, is a better mountain gun, quote unquote. Because when you call something a mountain gun, you're really implying, aren't you, if not directly stating, okay, this is maybe bear defense, you know, something bigger in the mountains that you might need a firearm for, right? Which, nothing wrong with the 45 ACP, but a long Colt, a little more potential there, right? And so that's kind of how those all sort of came about. And like I say, I've always liked these. I've made a little bit lighter, again, because of the barrel cut down the way it is in terms of tapering, and then not being all that long, 4-inch. So you got a very comfortable firearm to carry, but still a big end frame and nice grip, and just always wanted one. So I'm going to load it up and shoot it again. Let's put some of my hand loads in it. Want to? Also appreciate Alabama Holster for their support of the channel. I'll bet I've got one on me, right? Yep, make great little Kydex holsters, and about anything you need, inside the waistband, outside the waistband. And I've got a news flash for you. They're in Alabama. Yeah, they really are. Great company. All right, some hand loads here. Let's shoot the target. 1, 2. Wowie, right in the bullseye. Let's smoke a pot. Do a little pot smoking, not hit the tree. Oh no, I hit the burn barrel. Sorry, burn barrel. Put the fire out. Yeah, got to remember I have 6. Most of the time when I'm shooting 45 Colt, I am shooting 5, right? So this holds 6. It's a double action revolver, different affair. Let's shoot something. Let's shoot some Steinel here. What we got? Yeah, some cowboy action here. And I've not shot too much. I did shoot it in the Sunday morning shoot around, and a couple times, maybe a few shots before that. It shoots fine, I think, at long range. I believe it was shooting a little low. I was on that Sunday, I was missing the gong unless I held it up a little bit. It was shooting a little bit low, so I just raised the rear sight just a little bit before we started today. Okay, and let's see, I'll reach out to the gong here and see if that made a difference. All right, that's kind of where I like to hold if that was correct. Yeah. Let's try the buffalo. Boom! How about the ram? Our logo. Nice trigger. I didn't mean to fire it yet. Yeah. So the only miss was when I didn't mean to fire. I was almost on target. I don't know about you all, part of it's good for safety reasons over the years, and I think most of the ranges where probably most of us shoot, it's more dangerous to be shooting up in the air than it is right into the ground. So I just always tend to get out there and then bring myself up on the target slowly, boom, when you're up there where you need to be, pull the trigger. Just seems like it makes the most sense. And not just for that reason, you're seeing the target as you're moving your gun up, right? So I guess if you're hunting or whatever, that would just make more sense rather than covering up the target with your hand and the gun, then coming down. Oh, there's the target. But anyway, so if I let one get off just a little too soon, it's always going to shoot low. And getting out there, no charge for that information. You wouldn't pay much for it anyway, would you? Yeah, I was gonna for new people, less knowledgeable people. You know, again, the 45 ACP is on the right, and then you got your 45 Colt. Okay, so you know it's a shorter cartridge. I was talking a lot about the ACP, and it's not really rimmed. You know, whereas the 45 Colt is a rimmed cartridge. Yeah. Good to know, huh? I'm not going to shoot these and get them all dirty, but the 45 Colt is such a wonderful cartridge, and that's basically like the Dirty Harry gun chambered in, 45 Colt instead of 44 Magnum. And again, the 1917 used extensively, World War I, even World War II. Smith and Colt both had this model basically, and they made them for the war effort in 45 ACP. So let's shoot a couple more of the Steinel. Yeah, I won't keep y'all all day. I knew you'd be interested in a good old in-frame Smith & Wesson. They're hard to beat. And this thing feels good, and I was a little concerned since I'd never had one. I just have always liked the looks of these. They're just really extra cool, but they're probably going to kick. It's probably going to have a lot of recoil because there's just not as much barrel weight on it. But I haven't really noticed that being a problem at all. And of course, it's not a 44 Magnum. Yeah. Let's go double action here. Yeah, feels good. Click. I really like it. I'll probably overshoot it because I like it. In fact, I'm going to overshoot it with a little of this Underwood Extreme ammo again, just for kicks. Maybe I should penetrate something over on that hill. All right, now this has got a little more juice. I might get a different point of impact. Try something I can see. I'll sling one at that pig up there on the left, up close to the red plate. I'm not sure where to hold this one, but we'll try. Okay, went high, didn't it? Yeah, I guess the first two went high. So I printed a little bit higher. It's got a little more juice to it. Now I'll hold right on the bottom of the gong. And it should hit it. I probably have 2 more rounds. Let's penetrate this bowling pin right here. Extreme penetrator. Wow. Let's get that other one sitting there. Yeah, those feel, I would feel pretty safe in the mountains with that round. It feels pretty good. You want a little recoil, you know, when you're in bear country, right? Now again, you wouldn't go bear hunting with something like this. It's a defensive firearm, defensive. So yeah, whenever you hear 625, you're talking 45 caliber, right? And with these model 25, the older ones and everything, you know, some of them you got to watch it now. You could actually order one of those off of a gunbroker or somewhere in an auction and think you're getting a 45 Colt and you're actually getting a 45 ACP or vice versa. I know when I've done some shopping, I had to be careful of that because it's basically the same model number, and some years and some dashes were available in 45 ACP and some not, you know. And so you got to know what you're going for and just be careful about that. But you know, either chambering, great. I just I'm a 45 Colt guy. I just like the cartridge. And let's just make the rounds here and fire a little Black Hills before I let you go. Before I make you go, make you get out of here. 45 Colt cartridge is such a nice one. You know, generally around 250 grain slug, sometimes 255 in standard loadings. And you know, 45 Colt, that's the name of the cartridge, sometimes referred to as long Colt. Pretty much incorrectly, I guess. You know, I'm not gonna lose a lot of sleep over it like some people do, but it was easy to see why it got started being called that. And you'll see it on the box sometimes. It'll say long Colt, and that was partly to differentiate it from other 45 caliber, maybe the ACP, probably more often the Schofield 45 Schofield, which was really a cartridge that looked more like this, you know, with the same rim and everything. It was just more or less, but just shorter. You know, so it's just to differentiate. It's how people got started calling it that, and some people still do. But let's be nice to them, okay? Because there was a reason for that to some extent. All right, last shots, and y'all got to leave. I'm sorry. How could I not shoot the cowboy when I've got a 45 Colt out here, even though it's a modern one? Double action tubes. Yep. It's a cartridge that will never die, seems like. And I don't want it to. It's been around since 1873. And I try to do my part to keep it alive. I hope I'm doing my part, even in a modern gun. I don't really see it as a crazy anachronism for it to be in a modern double action Smith & Wesson. You know, you look at the history of Colt and Smith & Wesson. The 45 Colt just was chambered in so many different firearms. The old new service revolvers, they're kind of like this double action, and I've got some of those, you know, in the Smith & Wessons. So it's not like, I don't know, it's not as crazy as a Glock maybe being chambered in a 45 Colt. But the mountain gun, again, I depend on you all to keep it a secret that I am shooting a 45 Colt Smith & Wesson 625 mountain gun on relatively flat land, okay? I normally don't break the law, but today I am. Life is good.
Oh yeah, that's better. This is a great gun for defense. Oh hey, didn't see you guys there. While I've got you here, I want to remind you of our friends over at Talon Grips and Ballistol. Talon Grips makes grips, can you believe it, for all different types of firearms. You can get rough texture or more of a rubberized texture. It just sticks right on there. You know, really affordable, really cool option to improve the grip for your handguns. or rifles. So please check them out at talongungrips.com. You'll be glad you did. And also Ballistol. Dad has been using Ballistol for many years. It's a cleaner and a lubricant, and it's non-toxic. It works really great, and we're happy to have them on board since it's been a part of our shooting endeavor for a very long time. So go to ballistol.com, talongungrips.com, and also while you're out there, I'm juggling all these things here. Also, while you're on the internet, please do check out our other social media like Hickok45 on Facebook. There's also Hickok45 on Twitter, The Real Hickok45 on Instagram. There's a John_Hickok45 on Instagram where I do some things. There's Hickok45.com. You can find us also on Gunstreamer. So check out all that stuff and then watch more videos.